Hello, everybody. Happy Friday to you. Uh, Hopefully, you enjoyed my video yesterday with the rice, and hopefully, that helped you understand how cylinders work. My wife actually saw that video and decided to share that with some of her work friends, and they said that they thought it was interesting. They thought the radius having a bigger effect than the height was an interesting idea. So, there we go. Today, um, I thought of maybe going on and starting on pyramids. But then I also thought I want to make sure that we're all doing okay with what we are or where we are at. So today on Friday, I would like to just slow down a little bit and make sure that everyone is okay with prisms and cylinders. So I'm actually just going to go through the assignment that is due on Monday. So hopefully you've had a chance to look at that. And I guess maybe you're looking at this over the weekend after you've had a chance to work on the assignment. But whether you are doing this on Friday or if you waited until after you were done with the assignment and you're maybe looking at it on Saturday, Sunday, or I guess possibly even Monday, I just want to go through this assignment with you guys and make sure everyone is okay with it. So, starting with number one, it says the surface area of a right triangular prism is 262. If the base is 5 by 7, then find the height of the prism. So, because they said that we're doing a surface area problem, that is where I started. I said the surface area is the perimeter of the base times the height plus 2 times the base. If you don't have that formula written down somewhere, probably a good idea to get that written down. Fill in the information I need. Here's the surface area. Perimeter of the base. They told me the base was 5 by 7. So the perimeter is 5 plus 7 plus 5 plus 7, just making our way around that rectangle. Times the height. We don't know the height. If we did, we'd be done with the problem. And then plus 2 times the base. The area of the base is a area of a rectangle, 5 times 7. And then I just simplified these things. 5 plus 7 is 24. 2 times 5 times 7 is 70. And then the rest is algebra. Subtract 70 from both sides of the equation, divide both sides of the equation by 24, and get the answer to this question that the height is 8. So there we go, working backwards from the surface area to figure out what the height is. If I want to find the volume of this prism, it'd be the area of the base, 5 times 7, times the height, 8. So whatever 5 times 7 times 8 is, 5 times 7 times 8 would be 140, I believe, but I'm not sure. You might want to plug that in a calculator. Number 2, the net for a triangular prism is shown over here. I want to find the surface area and the volume. So this is a little bit more straightforward. Given all the dimensions, find what the surface area and volume. So start with the formula. Surface area is perimeter of the base times the height. The perimeter of this triangular base is 24 plus 25 plus 7. That's where that 56 comes from. The height of the prism, the distance between the bases, is 9. So area of the base times the height, plus 2 times the area of the base. Well, this is a triangle, so the area of the base would be 7 times 24 divided by 2. That's where that 84 comes from. So plug that in my calculator. I got 672 for the surface area. The volume is area of the base that we found already times the height. That's the height of the prism. 24 times 9 to get 756. The next problem says that this cylindrical glass is filled with water and then it's emptied out into this rectangular pan. It's a rectangular prism. Is it going to overflow? I guess is basically the question. And so find the volume of the cylinder, find out how much water was in here, figure out what the volume of the rectangular prism is, and whichever one is bigger tells us what the answer is. Volume of a cylinder, area of the base times the height. The base has a diameter of 6, which means the radius is half of that, or 3. So pi times the radius squared times the height. The height of this cylinder is 12. I got 339.3 cubic centimeters. And then the pan, area of the base times the height, 10 times 8 is the area of the base, times the height of 4, 10 times 8 times 4 is 320. And since the the volume of the pan is less than the volume of the cylinder, we'll have a little bit of overflow. Looks like about 20 cubic centimeters are going to flow out of that thing. There we go. Question number 4 is another cylinder question. They want the radius, height, and volume of this cylinder. And we are given that the area of the bases is 9 pi, and the lateral area, the area of the curved face around the cylinder, is 42 pi. So with this problem, I wasn't sure how to start it. We don't have surface area or volume or lateral area. Actually, I guess we do have the lateral area. And then the total surface area is all of these added together. But I decided that if I was going to find eventually the volume, I needed to know what the radius was. So since the area of one of the bases is 9 pi, the area of the circle, pi times the radius squared, is 9 pi. If 9 times pi is radius squared times pi, then the radius squared is 9. And if the radius squared is 9, then the radius is 3. So that was one thing I knew that I was going to need to find volume of this cylinder. I also need to know the height of the cylinder. And so for that, I went to the lateral area formula. The lateral area is equal to the circumference of the base, circumference of the circle, pi times the diameter. So 2 times 3, the diameter is 2 times 3, which is 6, times the height. And since I know what everything is except for the height, 42 pi equals 6 pi times h. Divide both sides by pi, divide both sides by 6, and I get a height of 7. And then at that point, I can plug them into the volume formula. Volume of a cylinder is area of the base, which was given, times the height. And there we go. The volume is 63 pi. One more cylinder problem for us on this review. We're given that the volume is 784 pi. Again, we'll be able to do an exact value since we were given it in terms of pi. Volume of a cylinder is area of the base times the height. I was given the height, and so the only thing I'm missing here is the radius. So first thing I do is divide both sides by 16. I can divide both sides by pi at that point. The radius squared is 49, which means the radius is 7, which means I can find the circumference. If the radius is 7, then the diameter is 14. 14 pi is the circumference. And then finally, my formula for surface area says that the surface area is the perimeter of the base. I'll call it the circumference in this case, times the height, plus 2 times the area of the base. And since I found that the radius was 7, I know that the area of the base is pi times 7 squared. And so there we go. Plug in the circumference, plug in the height, plug in the area, and then in this case, because I want the exact value, I'll keep the pi in these expressions. 14 times 16 is 224. 2 times 7 squared is 98. And then add these together. 224 pi plus 98 pi is 322 pi. If I want the approximate surface area or the approximate circumference, then I would plug these into my calculator and multiply by pi. But it did not ask me for that, so I am not going to do that. Finally, number 6, the net for this trapezoidal prism. The base of this trapezoid, let's see, I've got 15 here. This side is 9 because it matches up with that side on the far side of the trapezoid. This length right here must also be 7, again, because this is a prism, so these bases are congruent. And then this length is 10. And so now if I think about laying this out flat, if I took this section over here and laid it out flat, take the top off of this and lay it out, I end up with this rectangular shape that represents the lateral surface area. And that's going to go a long way for me figuring out what the rest of this looks like. So again, laying out this, looking at these different sections, the lateral area is the area of these lateral faces. I know the height is 8. That's the distance between the bases. The 4 sides of the trapezoid make up the perimeter of the trapezoid. 9 plus 7 plus 10 plus 5. There's my perimeter of 41. And so my lateral area is 41 times 8, 328. Total surface area, we'll take that lateral area and add on the area of the base. My area of a base formula, the area of a trapezoid formula. I've got the lengths of the two bases, 9 plus 10. So base 1 plus base 2 is 9 plus 10 times the height of the base. The height of that trapezoid is 4, and then half of that to get 38. And so my total surface area, take the lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base. That's where that 404 comes from. And then finally the volume. Interesting that that was misspelled. The volume of this prism is the area of the base that we found already times the height. Notice that's the height of the prism, not the height of the base, but the height of the prism as 8. 38 times 8 is 304. So there we go. That finishes off prisms and cylinders. What we have left to do in this chapter, similar to what we're doing now, volume, surface areas, and stuff like that, but we're going to take a look at pyramids starting on Monday. Probably take 2 days on pyramids. We'll do one day of just finding volume and surface area, and then we'll work backwards, similar to what we did for the prisms. And then at the end of the week, next week, we'll be taking a look at cones and spheres. That'll finish off the chapter. So you can expect a test on this chapter not next week, but the following week. And then we'll be moving on from there. Hope you guys had a great week. Hopefully you have a great weekend, and we will check in with you guys again on Monday. As always, if there's questions, get in touch with me through email, through Schoology, through whatever means you can get a hold of me. Otherwise, I will talk to you later. Bye.